In this video, we're going to look at photoshopping family photos at weddings. So we're going to look at two different things. One is getting rid of people and things and distractions in the background, and the other is going to be face swapping. So we're getting another face from a different photo and putting it into this one because maybe there's a face in your photo that's not great, kind of like this one where the dad's not looking very happy. So we're going to look at those two things.
And this is something we probably all run into a lot when we're doing family shots, because it's the classic scenario where you get three people that look amazing and normal and one person that just totally doesn't for whatever reason.
And then that one photo where that other person looks good, the other ones are all blinking or something. And I do a lot of photos. We do a lot of weddings on Brighton Beach as well, so we get a lot of people in the background. So getting rid of people is something we have to do quite a lot. We like to tidy it up. We don't get rid of everything. Like, I'll show you the after photo of this picture that I delivered. It looks like this. So I got rid of the people, but I didn't get rid of all the chairs because that's what Brighton is to me. So I got rid of all the distracting people over their shoulders, and that is the clean version. So we are now going to go into Photoshop and clean it up. What I do to get in Photoshop is right click and go to edit in and edit in Photoshop. And I've got one. Here's one I prepared earlier. So here is the original photo. So let's start getting rid of these people.
I think first, just as a general tip, it's worth mentioning that in some ways you don't want to go too over the top with anything. So we feel the more kind of detailed and fussy you get with these kind of edits, the more it actually shows when you zoom out in the end. So you kind of want to keep it like high level and only take out the things that you really need to take out.
Exactly. I'm not going to get rid of absolutely everything. I'm not going to be perfect about it either. It's pretty rough what I do, but I feel like as long as the couple don't notice, then that's the main thing. So I'm going to just sort of zoom in using, like, pinching my fingers on the trackpad here to this guy here. Let's get rid of this guy. So I'm using the magnetic lasso tool. I really like it because it does a lot of the work for me. These are the settings I've got up the top here. I've been playing around with settings and they, for me, work the best. So I'm going to start by clicking once here and just roughly going around this guy. And then click. If it doesn't link up, just press return and it will link up the two ends. So there are two ways to do this. It depends on how clean your background is, how much there is you can grab. If there's not much you can grab, then I like to use this tool, Content Aware Fill.
Who's Phil?
It's a secret. So what this does is take a certain area and use that to clone. So you can get rid of all the stuff you don't want to use. So I don't want to use like the mum to fill in that space. So I'm going to I haven't clicked anything apart from my trackpad button. I'm just going to get rid of the mum and the people.
So depending on your default settings on here, you might need to click in the top left to select the minus button up here. So that means it's going to take this stuff out of the overlay area in here. And if you click on the plus there, it's actually going to add it back in.
Exactly, and actually I use a key on the keyboard. If you use the option button on a Mac, it will do the same thing. So it puts it in, option, takes it out.
So what you're telling Photoshop here is don't use anything that you don't want it to use. So if you don't want it to fill the C in there with the pattern from that dress, take it out from the selection, make sure it's not green.
Like this. So all I've got selected now in the green is sea and air. Now I can zoom in to the little thumbnail here and see how good of a job it's done. I'd say that's it's close, but it's not great up here. There's no horizon there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply that because it's fine for now. And then while I've got my sort of lasso mark around the guy, I'm going to use my second trick, which is clone. So I'm going to click the clone button and I'm going to pick a nice horizon area here. I'm going to hold option to, oh actually, real quick, I've got to merge my layers. I forgot. It creates a copy when I do the fill. So I've got to merge layers so I can actually pick it off the back. So going to the background, holding down option, click there, and it will then clone it over here. Make sure your opacity is 100 and then just line up where you want it to be. So I'm lining up my horizon and I'm just going to fill that in. So the best thing about this is that it will only fill in that area that you've highlighted. So it doesn't get all messy. You don't get all the, the edges overlapping with stuff. So there you go, it just fills in that area. If I press Apple D, I'll deselect, and I'm going to carry on cloning the other bits as well, just to tidy that up. So it's picking it up from where you see that little plus symbol, it's picking it up from there. So if we go lower, it's going to start picking up people. So you just press Option again and just pick it up from somewhere else. And there we go. So that guy is gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the next victim. Let's get rid of these two people here. So the exact same thing again. I'll do them both at the same time. Just loose like that. And actually, it's a pretty clean area. There's nothing else going on, so I'm just going to use the clone tool. So if I press Option on a random bit of the sea, and just kind of go a bit messy there, random, all good. Then Apple D to deselect, and I'm going to carry on using the clone tool just to tidy up these little bits here. That was messy. Apple Z to undo that. I use the square bracket button to make the little circle smaller and bigger. Now we're going to do the same for over here. I'm going to get rid of the lady looking at us because it's really distracting. So actually what I can use is this square tool here. Because the back of the back chair is a straight line, the edge of the photo is a straight line. So I can basically do the same thing again and just clone. Check my layers. Yep, just got one layer. Press Option for that area to be picked up. And I'm just going to fill her in with the sea. There we go. So it's like, it's not perfect, but it's fine. And then you can get more perfect about it if you want. You can start tidying things up if you want. So I don't love that there's a sort of circle here showing, so I'm just going to pick up some other bits, and that's a little bit better. That'll do. So I want to get rid of some people over here as well. I might just get rid of their heads, and I'll keep the chairs. So again, I'm probably just going to use this square tool because it's the back of a chair. I'll pick up a bit of the sea from over here. And she's gone. Apple D to deselect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to repeat using the content aware fill, just to show you guys again how it works, because it's a bit of a complicated one. So it's picked up all these little bits of green. I don't want any of these here, so I'm going to get rid of all that green stuff there. The green is just the highlight to show you where it's going to pick up from, and the rest is just C, so that is all good. And it looks okay in there as well, so I'm just going to apply that. That looks okay. Deselect. It's not perfect, but you know what? No one's looking at that. We've got one lady left over the bride's shoulder. Now this is going to be the trickiest one of all because it overlaps with her hair, which is very annoying. So you could either do a face swap on the bride from a different picture, or you can do what I did, which was just to do the same that we've just done. So I'm going to use my lasso, magnetic lasso again. Go around her earrings. Roughly around the person's head. Click. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to re-lasso that to show you guys something. Something really cool that you can do is that if it goes wrong, like that, and it picks up somewhere down there, you can just press your backspace button and it will take you back. And sometimes if it doesn't for some reason take you back, just move your mouse around until it picks up other spots and it will go backwards from there. Oh, there we go. So yeah, that backspace button is very, very handy. And like I say, if you don't quite join your dots there, you can just press the return button and it will join the dots for you.
So now we've got this selected, let's just have a little look at the old content aware, which is under edit, fill, and then you've got content aware there. So this is the previous version of it. So if we click OK on that, yeah,
it uses
this happens more often than not with the old content aware. It's I think picked its own area, and we haven't been able to define what area it's using. So it's obviously like sampled a bit in here, and it's just horrible. So don't go edit fill, go edit content aware fill for more options. Yeah, it's basically a much, much smarter version where you can now tell it where to pick your fill from. So we're going to use content aware fill for this one. So sometimes this warning comes up. I don't really know what it means because I am using the sampling brush tool, but we have worked out that to fix it, firstly make sure your layers are merged, but also
change this bit to auto, and then it will work again. I don't know why it didn't.
And we
then...
worked that out by doing 1 million takes of this. And it going wrong many, many times.
Don't tell them that. We do everything perfectly and everything right first time. So I'm getting rid of everything. That's not the C, which isn't much. I'm going to add in some C as a result of it taking away all the C. Just move that up so we can see. I'll make this bigger by pressing the close square bracket. It is. Get rid of all those chunks, and I'm going to then hold down Option. I'll make that smaller again. Hold down Option and add in some C.
Yeah, by adding in areas like that, you're basically giving Photoshop more to work with. So it's got a better chance of giving you a good result at the end.
I can see from up here it's actually using a lot of the sea in the sky area, so I'm going to just do that manually. So I'll press apply on that for now. We have a cameo from Loki. So I'll deselect that. Merge my layers. As you can see, it's no longer called background, it's called layer 0, because I was trying to fix that warning that came up, and I thought that might fix it. So merge layers, there we go. Deselect that. Right, so this bit here for a start is messy. I'm just going to simple clone that. So press Option there. Line it up with the C. Make sure it doesn't hit the mum's face there. The C's a bit dark there. Maybe I'll try from this side. It's a little bit lighter. There we go. That matches better. So, right, we have this situation around her hair. Now, if I go back to the version that I already did and delivered, you will see that I did actually work quite hard to fix that here. So as you can see, I've gone in and very, very intricately fixed the bit behind her hair there. Let's go back to Photoshop.
Yeah, and the moral of the story with that is, obviously, if anything is within your control, so if you're talking group shots where you have the ability to move people around and get the lighting right, if you can get it right first time, definitely try to, because it is a ball ache to fix this stuff afterwards. But in this case, it was Brighton Beach.
Not much you can do.
Midday on a busy weekend or something, so this is what we had to work with. They wanted to do the group shots at that time, so that was that.
So what I'm going to do here, actually, I'm going to undo what I just did, and when I clone it, I'm going to do the opacity a bit lower, because it looks a little bit fake when I do it like that. There we go. So I think the more I click it, the more it will go through. I think it's a little bit more subtle that way. Let's lasso up behind here a little bit as well. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to very subtly clone that with a bit from here. There. It's not perfect, but hopefully they're not going to zoom into their photo that much. I might fix up her shoulder as well.
So another couple of tools you've got here available to you is, first of all, you can go up to these brushes here and you can change the hardness of the brush. So if you take this all the way to 0, rather than that hard-edged brush, you're going to get a very kind of soft, painterly one. You can see the area there that it's working with. So sometimes that can really help to blend in things a bit better. So you can take multiple samples from an area like this C and kind of tap in a lighter one, tap in a darker one, and that just gives it a more natural look. And also don't forget, you've got your standard dodge and burn tools over here as well, so you can just use those like you normally would to brighten and darken areas too, just to make things look more natural.
Yeah, exactly. The way I did it was quite harsh, so I quite like what Todd's done there. Actually, I could have used that for my little triangle area here. Maybe I will clone it again. I'll make sure I've got one layer. Yes, I will use just the clone tool. I'll make that smaller. I'll take a selection from over here and I will just sort of brush that in, and it actually looks a lot softer now. That's much better. I'm going to do the same for her shoulder. There we go, not such a harsh line. And the more you tap it and the more you go over it, the more it'll do. So you can keep on going over it until it's exactly how you want it.
Another kind of general tip with this, I would say, is be judicious in applying it. So if you're going to take, say, an exit sign out of a hotel background where they're doing the walk down the aisle at the end of the ceremony, if you've taken that out of one shot, you're probably going to want to take it out of every subsequent one. So that when they look through the full gallery, it doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. So before you kind of deliver any shots where you've done this, just think about, are you prepared to do it on a whole sequence, or is it better to just live with it?
I do it for my portfolio a lot of the time, or a one-off group photo like this. I'm going to get rid of this guy's leg. I've just realised I've left a bodiless leg in there. There's no nice, clean bit of beach to clone from, so I'm just going to do it from my messy bit of beach here. It's just going to have to be the way it is. I'll do the leg extra and leave the beachy bit. There we go. That's fine, I think. And actually, I might, while I'm cloning, soften the edge of the beach there as well. There we go. I think that's, like, pretty acceptable. And that's the thing. We strive for acceptable in these things. We don't need it to be absolutely perfect. They're not going to notice. They don't know the people were ever even there, so they're not going to be looking for it. And I think, yeah, that's all you need to do, really. Just tidy things up. Don't make it perfect.
And think about walking away for a second. If you've been looking at it for a while, it's not the kind of A-B comparison that matters, because they're not going to have the before shot in front of them to see. It's just if the photo stands on its own. And actually, I think you'll find that if you kind of let go and don't take it too seriously, you can get away with a lot more than you think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I've done some messy jobs in my time, and even I can't tell looking back years later. So to save that in Lightroom, you just have to press Apple S and it will open itself in Lightroom. It will save itself in Lightroom as a TIFF. You don't have to export or anything like that. So now we're going to have a look at face swapping, head swapping. So I'm going to take the head of the dad, because he's looking much more happy in this picture. I'm going to use that rectangular tool there. I'm just going to roughly pick up his head. I'm going to Apple C to copy it, back to this one, Apple V to paste it, and then I'm going to drag it to him there. So now I'm going to go to layers where I've got the head layer. Oops, it's snapped out of place.
So notice, by the way, that was quite a different shot. It had a bunch more people in it. So it's not that you have to replace an exact like for like always. Again, you can get away with quite a bit with this, as long as you're kind of subtle about it.
I've got to do some work as well, because the horizon line is at a different place as well. So things like that is what you've got to look out for. The horizon line changing. It's not just the face you're swapping, it's everything. So I'm going to see how much I can get rid of behind his head. I'm going to make that opaque so I can actually see. They line up pretty well. So if I get this eraser tool here, I can now go in and erase. I want to put that on 100. Erase the picture the sort of bit I've just put in. So now the horizon is actually lined up again. I can put his shoulders in, I can put his tie in. It's making my eyes go fuzzy looking at that. So let's put it back to
That's
first.
how it looks in real life when you get to the group shots and you haven't had a drink for 3 hours.
Yes. So these are my two. So I can see now I've left in some bits, so I'll erase that. I've left in a bit of flower. His collar looks a bit funny. Now I'll zoom in.
I mean, from where I'm sat, that looks kind of believable already.
Yeah,
enough.
it's fine, isn't it? Now there's a bit of, obviously, funny mismatching going on with his tie. Maybe I need to lower his head. So I'm just going to use my down arrow just to lower his head onto his body. Nothing weird about that. There we go. Now the shirt kind of lines up, the tie lines up. And actually I can now erase a few more bits. I'm hoping his original head doesn't pop in. If it does, then you have to be a bit more creative. There it goes. Yeah, there's his original head. I'm also going to move it a little bit to the left. So now if I carry on erasing, I can kind of get rid of most of the bits here. If we change the opacity, we can see where his original face comes in. There it is. And maybe if I carry on moving it across a bit. I can carry on erasing a little bit there. I'm just going to try Todd's trick of using a softer brush, so let's try moving that slider down. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here to get a better view on it. I'll move that back to 100% so I can see it properly. Yes, we've got this sort of white bit here, which is difficult to fix because his original face is underneath it. I'll just fix up that tie a little bit there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I think his face is a little bit smaller, so I might actually make it bigger. Like that. Let's see on the opacity where we're at. Yeah, so I can pretty much get rid of all the white bits now. Some little bits to fix up in the shirt there. But even though I've got a few little white bits in there, it's not looking too bad. When you zoom back out of it, it just looks like the sea. So now we've successfully head swapped the dad. So we've gone from that to that, and the couple will not notice. I do this quite a lot because even though I take loads of photos, there's always someone blinking or pulling a face or not looking in every photo. So yeah, it's a really good thing to have in your tool bag. So we have cleaned up the background and we have done a head swap. So hopefully that will help you guys with your group photos when things go a little bit wrong, when the backgrounds get messy, when people are blinking. These are things that you can easily use to fix that.